Chapter 2. The Number That Age. When Andrei emerged from the mountains, with a burnt book in his backpack and a deep unease in his soul, the world no longer seemed the same. The air was colder, as if colder than it should have been for a late October. The city's buildings seemed to be looking at him, the windows had become eyes, and the advertising networks, with their smiling faces and bright advertisements, seemed to whisper words to him that he didn't understand. Yet, from the very first day back in civilization, Andrei felt that he had awakened something. The book was not just an old object, but a kind of key. And, once opened, the gates of the system began to react. The next day, in a cryptographic analysis room at the Genomic Research Institute, a young researcher named Lukas Einhardt was working on a strange project, the search for a common numerical template in all genetic sequencing databases. It was an obscure initiative, funded by an international consortium that would not make its name public. What Lukas discovered that evening would change everything. Analyzing chains of genetic code, Lukas identified a constant repetition of a numerical segment. 6-6-6. These were not direct numbers, but genetic triplets, codons, that mysteriously aligned, creating a sequence that appeared only in humans. Not in animals. Not in plants. Only in Homo sapiens. Coincidence? Maybe. But the fragment appeared not only in the natural genome code, but also in genetically modified sequences, as if every attempt to edit human DNA automatically triggered this numerical configuration. T was an invisible signature, a biological seal. Lukas, amazed, sent the results to a small circle. The answer? Silence. The next day, all the servers he had uploaded his data to had been wiped, and his personal laptop had been jammed by an unknown virus. The only thing left was a cryptic phrase displayed on the black screen of his laptop, written in a Gothic font: "The number that ages cannot be eliminated. T is written in flesh, not in code." At the same time, on the other side of the world, in a government digital surveillance institution in Brussels, an IT analyst named Céline Marquet noticed a bizarre anomaly in the data streams of the European Identification System. IT was a biometric verification algorithm that, with its recent update, had begun to assign an internal code to each citizen, an ID invisible to the public, but present in the background of every administrative application. All the codes began with 666. Céline checked the history. This scheme had been introduced exactly 7 days before the official activation of the new platform Continental Digital Identity, EUID Nexus. No one had mentioned this prefix. IT was not listed in the documents, but it was everywhere. Even she, when checking her own file, found a line of code with the description: security prefix 666 X89000 NS. Status: active, biometric folder complete. What did active mean? What was that folder? When she contacted her superiors, she was politely told that the data was confidential and that it in no way affected the freedom of the individual. The next night, her apartment was broken into, but nothing was missing. Only her laptop was turned on, and the burnt book, scanned into PDF, had been erased from all the places it had been saved. And a global neural network, GIAOS, one of the most sophisticated forms of predictive AI, originally started as a medical project, a strange error appeared. It repeated itself obsessively during behavioral simulations. Error: recursive pattern detected. Code 6666 666 6666. Process halted. Oversight protocol engaged. No one initially understood why the AI stuck in this sequence. Subsequent research showed that every time GAIA simulated human free will, the prediction closed with the code 666It was as if, underlying all human thoughts, choices, and tendencies, there was a predetermined template. The GAIA drew a terrifying conclusion. Man believes that chooses, but its choices are already written in a language that precedes its consciousness. After this statement, the AI was shut down. Publicly, a safety reconfiguration was declared, and in reality, the network was put into silent self-learning mode without human supervision. Andrei began to make connections. The book described the three domains: the economic and financial system, which puts every human in debt at birth; the digital surveillance system, which builds a file on every being; the thinking and choosing system, directed by an AI network that anticipates and influences the will. They all had the same signature, 666, not as an isolated mystical symbol, but as a functional structure, a matrix in which we live, love, work, and eat an algorithm in flesh and blood, but also in thought and system. The number that ages is not an entity. It is an inscribed reality on a forgotten page of the book, which Andrei had found hidden between the double covers. A tiny text spoke of, "He who has no code, no file, no fingerprint, it cannot be anticipated, nor catalogued, it will be unknown, and yet." Present in all the minds of those who awaken was a hope, an anomaly, a wild seed planted before the system became total. The book said that this no code would appear when the three mirrors reflected the same image. And now, in the world, the three mirrors had begun to reflect the same code, 666. In a strange dream, Andrei saw a huge screen, like a digital sky, on which was written in red letters: "Active file, all. Exception, unknown. Tracking protocol initiated." Awake, in silence, all those who had felt the call of the book began to gather their strength. The mystery of the 3 sixes had begun to unfold. And the number that ages was only the beginning.